Ladies and gentlemen, this RedGamerTech.com video, AMD have a new CEO. In fact, you probably have heard of her. She is a Dr. Lisa Su, and she was the former Chief Operating Officer, so she's actually taking over from the current CEO, Rory Reid. He's stepping down, and so she will become the 5th CEO in the company. So currently AMD have two major business groups. The first is Computer Graphics Business Group, as well as the Enterprise, Embedded and Semi-Custom Business Group. So the idea here, many kind of had the feeling that Rory was a transitional CEO. He came in 2011 with the mindset of basically restructuring and stabilizing the company, because it had been struggling somewhat over the last decade or so, and starting to diversify their profile. In other words, starting to push them beyond x86 as well as graphics products. In other words, for example, the Radeon processors. So now they're in things such as ARM, semi-custom IPs, and so on and so forth. After all, now they're producing the APUs that are inside both the PS4 and the Xbox One. So while it was never implicitly stated that Rory would be a transitional CEO, it was kind of understood that he would be. And Lisa, for the most part, was being groomed, because previously she was essentially second in command of AMD. Now, she is, of course, completely and utterly going to be taking the helm of the company. Now with Lisa in charge, the company is once again back to being led by an engineer, and a very capable one. Just to give you an idea, she has a doctorate in electrical engineering from MIT, and has previously held positions in both IBM and Texas Instruments, so she definitely knows her stuff. And this includes semiconductor research and development, and that's one of the reasons that she actually joined the company in SVP in 2012. So theoretically, AMD's business situation is a lot more stable now. Rory came in and helped to stabilize it and put them in a much better financial base. Now the theory is Lisa can now come in and do what she will do best and help to innovate and drive better product solutions. Now what we do know, of course, is that AMD currently have quite a few projects that they are, well, juggling. One is the next x86/64 processors. It's gone on record that the next processors are not going to be disappointments. They're going to be, well, fast. Hopefully so, to be totally blunt. Intel's processors have been somewhat lackluster, and one of the reasons behind this is that they've not really needed to push. I think it's fair to say that one of the best times for processors in terms of innovation, in terms of speed of innovation, at least in my personal opinion, was early, late Pentium 4, actually no, even earlier, slightly earlier, basically when Athlons first started to come into the scene. AMD and Intel were trading blows. So the P4, then you would have the Athlon, then the Athlon XP, and then there were different derivatives of that. The Pentium, and then hyperthreading started to come into it, and then of course AMD started to really pioneer with x86, which then Intel started to include some of that technology in trade. AMD took some of Intel's technology, and then we started to move towards dual-core processors. It was a really cool time in the industry. But I think it's fair to say, and I actually had this conversation, funnily enough, on Facebook with a couple of viewers. We were kind of just discussing that the bottom line is, if you had a Sandy Bridge processor, maybe even slightly earlier, but certainly Sandy Bridge, you know, like for example 2500K, you're good. You really are. You're probably going to be able to run pretty much any game at the moment, and that's not. It's like, yes, every generation from Intel has improved things somewhat, but oftentimes you're only getting like a 10% improvement on a clock-for-clock basis, which isn't really that impressive. And sure, the latest processors from Intel are extremely impressive, like the 5000 series, but they're also extremely prohibitively expensive for a lot of gamers. And one of the reasons that many cite this to be as well, lack of competition. So hopefully, CTO Mark Papermaster, there's going to be the K12 designer Jim Keller, and various other guys and girls who are going to be leading the company. They're all very capable engineers, which is, in my personal opinion, extremely good. So Rory will actually be leaving the company effective immediately. He will stay on as kind of an advisory role because at the end of the day he knows stuff and obviously has a lot of experience that maybe Lisa doesn't quite isn't quite up to snuff with everything yet, because obviously it's a large company. It's not like you're just handing the reins over to a horse. There is a lot of moving parts in this, so he's going to help to provide advice and maybe, of course, the natural stuff like provide insights into deals maybe that's going on, and just basically tell her, you know, all of the moving parts, and to provide a lot of insight and support to the company, which is absolutely fantastic. We also know from what AMD have stated, as well as from leaks, that the new R9 series, the 300 series, is going to be released next year. Now, obviously we don't have an exact date at this point, but the rumour is it's going to be some point late Q1 or possibly Q2, and that's also looking to be a monster. Now, we don't exactly know what type of architecture it's going to be using. Hopefully, it's going to be a vast improvement over the current GCN1 type of architecture, and it's possible it will be, because from what we understand, and once again some of this is rumour and conjecture, it's going to be on a very small die processor. It's going to be on a 20 nm. So hopefully AMD can start pushing efficiency. Now obviously it's not just a case where now Lisa's in charge, things are going to change and new projects are going to pop up overnight. Remember that for the most part she has been involved in some of these decisions for some time. So it's going pretty well in my personal opinion, and to be honest with you, the last time Nvidia and AMD for the most part have been putting up pretty good processors and GPUs, but once again, even the GPU race right now, it's still a little bit iffy. I mean, I would say GPUs like the 460 were really good value for money, and there are still really good value for money cards out there at the moment. For example, Nvidia's Maxwell, the 970, is pretty damn good value for money. But we've really been hoping for like the next card, which just incredible performance. For example, the next GTX 8800, or should I say 8800 GTX to be precise. Where when the card was released it was like revolutionary, and we're all looking at the performance like, what the hell, this thing is just ridiculous compared to the previous generation. And we kind of need that now because 4K and all of these other displays are starting to come out. So hopefully AMD can be ridiculously competitive, and I think they can be. So hopefully this is a very good thing indeed for all of us in the computing industry. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon. Take care and bye for now.